Hey, everybody, welcome to another, we're still doing them, episode of the Jodo cast. No, they can't stop us. They've tried. I don't know who they are. It might be the Illuminati. They're trying to stop what we have to say, but we won't give in. You deserve to know the truth. Um, I'm Joe, and as always, joining us in the Truth Star, that's where we record out of, is Kurt.
Hello.
And Leo.
Howdy.
Um, what you guys been playing since we last convened?
I've actually gone back to Jedi Survivor, even though I had put it down and thought I was probably not going to play it again. I got a new graphics card, some other computer upgrades, and I was like, I'm going to check it out and see if it looks less bad, which it does. Uh, Still getting a few crashes, which is really unfortunate, but I ended up being like, you know what, let me start a new game plus and like play a little bit. And it was fun to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to play through some of the story again, and I've got cooler lightsabers now and stuff, and I was having fun with it. So yeah.
Nice. I've played some Shatterpoint and some Legion, getting more reps in with Cad Bane and Shatterpoint, and figuring out my Ewoks in Legion. I really like the Bright Tree Battle Force. It's
Nice.
fun. Oh yeah, happy Ewoktober to
Oh
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah, I'm not sure what sort of schedule of events we have because like every year I kind of forget about it until October comes. I'm like, oh crap, I got to do Ewok stuff. So we'll see what happens. But Merry Ewoktober to everyone at home. Leo, what you played?
You played
Uh,
anything or?
I think I played a game of Shatterpoint since we last talked.
Hmm.
I think so.
What was your squad or
Just
character you liked the most?
the core box stuff because that's all I have. Um, I don't know. I like Ahsoka. I like Anakin. They're okay to play. You know. I've got.
With your that's a back of the box pull quote from Leo. All right.
I mean, we've talked about how I feel about the game, so. Uh,
Um,
I've got a game of Armada coming up. Let's see what's today.
Ooh.
Tuesday. Okay, yeah, I've got the game scheduled for Thursday, so I'll be playing some Armada on Thursday.
ooh,
Nice. Some Star
I was
Destroyers, I assume.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of just pulling out the Chimera with Thrawn in it. Just not that it's necessarily the best to play, but in honor of Ahsoka finale tonight, that's what
it
I'm
might.
gonna play.
You should repaint it to look like the
I
Ahsoka
need to buy a
era.
second one so I can
Yeah,
gold it up.
Put some nice big chips in it. Yeah.
just take some bites out of it. Okay, so now that we've all caught up on what we've been playing, we have some other catching up to do. Star Wars Unlimited, probably one of the things we're most hype about around here these days.
I am.
There's a bunch of new info since we last convened, and I haven't actually been as glued to it as Leo has. Leo, as our chief card game officer, will be walking us through all the new info that's come out since we last talked about Unlimited and things that you all, including me, need to know.
It's pretty
uh,
cool. They're giving us this much information this far in advance. I mean, FFG gives us, I think, usually further in advance than Atomic Mass, but even so, like this many months knowing so many details is like really kind of wild, I feel
It
like.
almost feels like at this part, is there much we don't know besides just
A
the rest
few
of the
cards.
cards?
well, the
Yeah.
rest of the cards. This really isn't that unusual. I mean, if we have a March launch, them revealing like the pricing information and booster pack contents and things like that, which is what we're going to be talking about today, um, is it, as far as timeline goes, is about the same amount of time for as Lorcana between when they announced all that stuff and when everything went on sale starting at Gen Con.
Okay, okay.
Because that Gen Con was August, and if I remember right, it was February or March that
What?
Lorcana announced all that.
Okay.
Um,
Maybe at the end of this episode, if there's time, I will ask you what is left for us to know about the game.
okay, so well, let's dive into. I mean, we're not going to quite cover everything that's been announced since we last talked about Unlimited, because it's been a while since we talked about Unlimited, and I mean, if you count all the card previews, that's a
Oh,
ton of
yeah.
stuff. Um,
Not going through all the
yeah, I
cards.
guess a
There are some
couple.
cool ones.
Yeah, and a couple of the important things is we have since we last talked about it, we have seen bases that do have abilities now. I mean, that's a thing that we had speculated about, is bases with lower hit points, but then they make up for those hit points by having some sort of an ability. And so they have since then have shown us a couple of those. We've got a lot of new characters. We've been actually recently they've been spoiling a lot of Rebels characters. So we've seen
That's
Sabine,
they,
we've seen Kanan.
they
Uh,
knew I was like on the fence, and then I was like, all right, I'll probably get it. And then they're like, all right, now just trickle out the Rebels characters, and then we got them. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to be satisfied until I have all of those characters and all their versions, because there's like a leader Sabine, so there'll be a non-leader Sabine, so it's got to get them
and they've
all.
shown us both of those. They've shown us leader and non-leader for
And I
Sabine. When
I think it's especially cool because those feel like the type of characters that usually would not be an initial release. They would be some future wave, some future expansion, right? But we're getting them right in some of the these the core, the first waves or whatever, which
Right.
is really cool. Like they're important characters, so I love
uh
that.
yeah, and they all have Spectre tag. They're all uh, they've all so far been different aspects. So
Yeah,
there's
that
a
could
lot of
get
people who
messy.
are assuming that either like that probably like the Hera leader card is going to have some kind of ability that's going to let you like negate the aspect penalty for playing cards with the Spectre tag on them.
That would make
That would
sense.
be
Or like
cool.
just, some kind of like Adelon base that
Hmm.
has that
Hmm.
effect. But it would make more sense to tie it to a
Chopper base.
character because it would have less. Because for a single leader, that's a lot more restrictive than, well, if it just targets specters, then maybe that's
Yeah.
fine. But
Um, but beyond just general card reveals, we've had a couple different live streams from Fantasy Flight, and some articles they've put out uh, regarding. The first one is here this last month they talked about what all we can expect to see in the booster packs. Um, so we now know that booster packs are going to be 16 cards. There's basically there's kind of three fixed slots or two fixed slots where one is always going to be a leader, and another one is always going to be a base, common base, I should say, because there's common and there is rare bases. The rare bases are the ones that have the abilities. Um, but
okay, so do we know how many leaders there are? So every single booster pack I buy is going to have a leader, and a base, but we know at least the flip side of the base is the token, like what is it, shield
yeah, the
or
backside of the base
experience,
is going to be is going to have tokens printed on them, the experience or the shield tokens.
because the reason the boosters have to have a leader and a base is for sealed events where you can show up with absolutely nothing and get some boosters and have enough to make a deck.
Yes.
So that makes sense, but I'm wondering how many. If there's hopefully there's a lot of leaders, so that when you get a bunch of boosters, you're not stuck with a bunch of copies of the same leader, and it starts to be like, oh, okay, here's another whatever Kanan again,
um,
another 10th Kanan.
yeah. It,
Or your ninth nine nunb.
um, I mean, it is helped by the fact that so there's going to be 16 leaders, I believe, and that is not counting the Luke and Vader that are that were like in the two-player starter decks.
Okay, so if
Um,
there's only 16, I feel like you're gonna just have a bunch of duplicates of leaders because I don't. I feel like we'll get to it when you tell us about the booster box thing, but like I feel like you're gonna end up with more than 16 boosters from one set, right?
yeah, but I mean, so that is going to be offset a little bit by the fact that there's variance to all these cards.
Right.
So just real quick, the other pack contents is there's always going to be one foil card, and that can be
That's
a card of any rarity.
okay. Question
Um,
again from
yes.
the those of us in the back who don't do any sort of collectible card game stuff. Is that like unusual to have a guaranteed foil in every single pack?
Not so much. I mean, there's a fair amount of games these days um, that put like a foil in every pack.
Okay.
Um,
I wasn't sure if that was like different from other games or how it because I don't know how this game compares to
I
other
think
popular games.
I believe Flesh and Blood puts foils in at foil, like has a foil slot in every pack. Um, uh, there's and I think Pokemon might also have at least one foil in every pack always.
It's
So
cool
there,
though, because like
yeah.
foils are cool. Like it'll make like a generic stormtrooper a little more interesting. Like, oh, at least I have one foil version of it or whatever, right? So
Hmm.
it's neat. It'll be nice to get.
Yeah. And then there's going to be, so it's going to be 9 common cards, 3 uncommon cards, 1 rare or legendary. So the rare, so that's a rare or legendary. And then, like we said, then leader, a base, a common base. So if you get to get a rare base, that's going to use up your rare card slot instead of the base slot. So you could possibly get 2 bases in
Mm.
one
Hmm.
pack.
Hmm.
And
Get the
then, like
second
we said,
base.
or and then there's the foil, so you could possibly, I think, maybe get 3
I'm all about
bases.
that rare base. No comments. So that sounds cool.
um but like I was
Is
saying, so
that
there's going to be
a reference
variety.
to that whatever song it was?
Yes, we can move on.
You no,
The
you have to
other
guess.
the other
You've
cards
committed
sound a
to
lot
now,
cooler.
like you put that out in the world, and when the game comes out, you're gonna have to make one of those really not cringy and cool like parody songs that
Yeah, and it'll
uh,
definitely go viral. It'll
it's
be
because
really high
that song is
quality.
still so relevant.
Yeah.
People aren't done making parody songs of that song yet.
um
But
so
besides foils, what are these other
yeah,
cool types we
you're
have?
also going to have a chance to pull every card in the set will have what they call a hyperspace variety, which is essentially just a borderless version of the card with little hyperspace lines around the outside.
Do
Have you
you
seen
think
They
If you've
look
seen
cool.
the Luke and the Vader promo cards from Gen Con, that's exactly what they look like.
I'm curious to see if there are going to be people either trying to or just selling slash buying entire hyperspace only sets. Like
Yeah,
here's the
Yeah.
hyperspace set for 10 times what it would cost just
there's
regular,
going to be
which
people who
is
do that. I mean, it's just like, like with Magic, there's people who, not so much with normal constructed play, but you see this a lot in like in the Commander, where people are playing one single deck for a long time when you play Commander. A lot of times you build a deck and you play that a lot. So there's people who put money into getting, you know, all foils for it, or getting like the land, all their lands with like the specific art they want on it in their deck and things like that. So there's definitely going to be people who are going to be collecting hyperspace variants and foil variants for purposes like that.
I
And you could
this it
hyperspace variants can be foil also. So it's
okay. So every card in the set could be, you could get a foil version of it, you could get a hyperspace version of it, and you could get a foil hyperspace version of it.
yes.
And alt art versions of them,
Well, that's so the alt
or
art
only certain ones.
is only going to be the showcase cards, and that's
Okay.
only leaders. Okay, so the leaders get a special, uh, and this is the super rarest card out there. So a foil card, obviously, you're going to get one per pack. So foil cards are not going to be super rare, but obviously, the the rarer the card is, the rarer the foil for it's going to be also. Um, your chances of pulling a legendary are about 1 in 8 packs. Your chances of getting a hyperspace is about 2 every 3 packs you're going to get. So your odds, your hyperspace variants are going to be fairly common. But now that's uncommon and like uncommon cards. Getting a hyperspace on a rare or legendary card ends up being about 1 every 15 packs. Getting a foil hyperspace on like a rare or legendary is about 1 in 50 packs. Now and there is 24 packs in a box, so you'll get one at like every 2 boxes for that. The showcase cards, like I said, are the leader only. It's a alternate art. It's full art, so it's borderless. Um, like the layout of the text and everything on the cards is slightly different than it is on a standard card as well. And then and I believe they're all foil, is what they said, that the
Mm.
showcases are going to be foil. Now those are going to show up about 1 in every 12 boxes of cards.
So
You
So
said
24 times 12,
yes,
whatever that is,
it's like
that's a number.
should be like
was that like two?
288, right?
Is it 288 or
So
248?
oh,
288.
a lot.
Yeah, I
So
just
you gotta
pulled the
get a
calculator.
lot of.
Oh yeah,
Most
yeah,
people, I'm gonna guess, are just not even gonna ever see one of
yeah.
these come into their
But if
possession.
you do pull one of them, they're gonna be the money card. If you don't want to keep it, you'll be able to sell it for
Yeah,
some.
and by the time, unless you get lucky and it's like your first pack, when you pull one, you probably already have a version of that commander. So if you don't care about the extra uh, visual change, just sell it, I guess. It does.
They
I
look
do.
really cool.
They
Mm.
look very cool. I don't think I could part with one, but I am a really big fan of how most of the rarest things seem to be just cosmetic. Because when I really dislike the aftermarket thing that all of these games tend to have. Um, so I'm curious and hopeful that maybe all of like the money and marketplace shenanigans are revolving around the cosmetic treatments as opposed to the rarity of, just, oh, here's a stock standard, not foiled, not hyperspace, rare card, like, okay, that's $2 or whatever. I don't know what it'll be, but hopefully it won't be as ridiculous as other games or as Destiny was, because that wasn't appealing to me.
And how much will a booster cost? Like $4 or $5?
So that's they that was actually discussed during the next stream that they did. But the MSRP on a booster pack is $4.99.
Yeah, so then again, if you do the math even further, 1 in 288 packs times $5 is almost $1,500 to get that showcase if you got it like right at the maximum amount, right? So, or right at the average amount. So, yeah, those could be
So
really
you're
expensive
saying
cards.
it, yeah, it could be, you could sell those for $1 million.
Yeah, definitely. Calling it right now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna retire off of these showcase cards. I'm calling it. Okay. Uh just a
All
little
right,
investment
everybody, you're
from
gonna
our
want to
patrons.
buy. Yeah, we're gonna have patron only hot tips. So you gotta pay us, and we're gonna tell you exactly how to buy these boosters in what frequencies from what resellers, because they're not telling you this, but they're giving the good stuff to these other guys over there. They don't want you to know, but we're here to tell you. So if you subscribe to our exclusive financial insider uh, pack crack Jack, we're hiring a new guy. We call him Pack Crack Jack. He tells you everything.
So there actually is there's like a that I've watched a few times every now and then, a Magic the Gathering like investment YouTube channel called like Alpha Investments or something like that, and they actually really dig into,
Specifically as investing, not
yeah,
as a
like yeah,
game.
like you buy, like you're
Gambling.
buying.
It's
I
called
mean,
gambling.
I
that's
mean,
what investing is.
yeah,
Investing is just gambling.
it's a lot of it's, you buying up like booster boxes and then holding on to them hoping that they appreciate and value it.
I think regular investing, while still entirely silly and finances are dumb, isn't it quite as volatile and risky as investing via collectibles?
As long as you're not buying meme stocks.
You know what
But yeah.
my favorite type of investing is I got commercials for a while on some podcasts I was listening to for this
The Reagan
this
coin?
no, it was for a website where you would pick a stock and you wouldn't buy the stock. You would just place a bet on this website whether the stock would close up or down for the day. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, I mean, that's really already what investing is. Only if you do it this way, you don't actually,
You
You don't
never
own
own
the
it,
stock.
and there's no long term, there's no like balance you could make like you do with
We
normal
need to.
mixes of stocks. Yeah.
I don't
Sounds
know if
great.
it exists anymore. It wasn't for real money, but maybe it should be. It's called Salty Bet. It was just like a Twitch
oh, yeah.
stream that had some kind of open source fighting game that just had
Where
thousands of
everyone, yeah, it was just they were all just playing on Mugen. And
yeah.
um,
Anyway,
yeah,
what else
uh,
is inside a booster pack?
so I think that pretty much covers it for the booster packs. I mean, like you said, it's they're designed with drafting in mind. Uh, so that's why we're gonna get the leaders and the bases in every pack. They haven't said exactly how the rules are gonna work. Um,
For drafting.
because yeah, because the way they sort of like the way they talked about it during the stream, during this stream made it sound like you'll pull out, like each pack you open, you'll pull out your leader and your base and kind of set those aside, and like
Hmm.
you just get whatever leader and base you get in your
That
pack.
sounds rough.
Right. Yeah. You
Um,
wouldn't want to leave them in there because that would be
um,
strange.
yeah, so they, um, but
I
then
mean,
during the next stream they talked about how some of like the pre-release kits and stuff are gonna, at least the pre-release kits, and then they, but it also sounded like some of the weekly kits might also, or some of the are gonna come with just stacks of the common bases and leaders, just so that for
Hmm.
pre-release anyways you can kind of play whatever you want.
Yeah.
okay.
Interesting.
So yeah, so that's kind of that's boosters. And then like I just alluded to, there was another stream then where they talked about kind of what the initial product line is going to look like and gave us some prices on a lot of this stuff. Um, So the first thing they talked about was the pre-release box I just mentioned, um, and that's going to
Which
be the
is different from the two-player starter, right?
yes, yeah. So the pre-release box is just going to be it's going to give you 6 booster packs, um, which you will then use to build your sealed deck for the event. Um, it's going to have 2 promo versions of the Luke and Vader leaders. Um, so, and these are actual like alt art versions, which actually I like the original art better than these ones. I don't know. It's sort of weird because it's like almost the same art, but not quite. Like the alt art choice is a little weird. I think in the I don't know if they did that to make it like less confusing to players. Like so like visually your brain would look at either one of the 2 cards and still translate it as the same because the art is very similar.
Eh,
Um, you see the same thing also later. They talk when they talk about their OP plans a little bit during the same stream, and they show off a uh, an alternate art for the takedown card. Uh,
oh yeah,
that's going to
which
be
is
in the OP booster packs. Which the original art is a female
probably Iden.
Inferno Squad person roundhouse kicking a rebel fleet trooper. The alternate art is her an ISF Inferno Squad person, more androgynous. This one, not sure if it's a male or female, but again, kicking a fleet trooper in the face just from the other direction. So
Yeah,
again, I don't know. It's
I could see that where they're like, oh,
kind
the
of
alta, it's entirely different art, but it's like the same thing is happening with the same characters.
Hmm.
yeah, which I don't know. In a way, makes the alt art feel less special to me.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
when you're and it's like okay, it's the same thing, just slightly different. I don't
Because
know.
like it makes me think of like I don't know, just any other alt art. Like for X-wing, the default art is just a artwork of the ship, whereas a lot of the alt arts would be artwork of the pilots,
Mhm.
which is like a huge difference.
Yeah. Um.
So this
That's
pre-release box, by the way, the deck box in this thing looks really cool. It's like a cool
yeah.
kind of, I don't know, like ship surface, some greebly looking designs.
Yeah. So yeah. So you'll get that Dex box. I don't know. We'll see how high the
It's probably
quality of
just
it actually.
cardboard.
Because it's probably just cardboard that'll
Oh
fall
yeah,
apart
maybe it is. Kind of hard to
very
Probably just
easily.
tell.
cardboard that's embossed. I bet it's embossed and like glossy, but just cardboard.
Yeah.
Probably not the level of the premium ones that they will sell
No.
separately.
Um,
But my question about the pre-release is, I assume the intent for this is that you can only buy it if you're showing up to one of these pre-release events, or is it a thing you can just buy on your own? Have they said that?
well, so it's I'm assuming it's going to be about like Magic generally. So like when Magic has their pre-releases, or even like Pokemon kind of works the same way. Store will order you know X number of pre-release kits depending on how many people they think are going to show up for it. And then generally those they're sold to whoever shows up for the pre-release event. And then after that pre-release weekend, if they've got extra stock, they put it on the shelf for people to buy. But if enough
Mm-hmm.
people show up for the event, they all sell out there.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure if I will end up wanting to buy one or not. They seem kind of cool, but I also don't know that I would be like, I'm going to show up and play matches like the first night or whatever. So like if that's the only way to get it, I don't know if it'd be for me, but it looks kind of cool.
I'm probably going to because I want to see. what the local community is like. I want to be there to help make like the store owner know there's interest in this game,
Hmm.
and uh, it, also just I'm gonna get boosters anyways. And what is the since it's a pre-release that it's like this is going to be out before the two-player starter is out. Like this is going to be out before like what, a week, a month?
Yeah,
Like
this will
what
be
is?
a week before the launch of the set.
Okay.
So not super early, but a little bit if you're really
Yeah,
wanting to get the cards. Yeah.
a week is pretty standard. Like that's about that's like the same that Magic does. Their pre-release events is the week before the set comes out. Um, but yeah, so you mentioned the two-player starter, so that's going to be a thing that will be available once the set does finally launch. Um, that week later. This we've known the contents for a while because they showed this off in a previous stream. So it's going to have the two 50 card pre-built decks, some paper play mats, rules, a couple cardboard deck boxes in it for your decks. Some cardboard damage
Yeah.
tokens, and then uh, the one nice thing we've learned about them is that they are, um, and this is one of those signs that this isn't the same old FFG. Is they're actually going to all the starter deck only cards you're going to get 3 of in each starter deck. So
Mm.
so you're not going to
Is
have
that
to
sort of
buy
the
multiple
three? So
starter decks to get those
3
cards.
is the
Mm,
maximum um,
You can put in a
you are
deck.
allowed to. Okay. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, and so that's going to retail at $34.99. And then there's going to be the booster boxes, which we talked a little bit about. Box is going to have 24 booster boxes in it. MSRP is, $4.99, which puts our MSRP at just a little bit under 120. Generally speaking, if you buy like a whole booster box, like from your store, they're going to sell you a whole box under MSRP. Um, Generally speaking, they're only selling booster packs at the MSRP. Again, it depends on the store you go to. Some stores mark up from MSRP. So
Hmm. So if you're planning to probably get a bunch of boosters anyways, it's probably the most efficient way to spend your money.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I
Get
mean,
that whole box. Yeah.
even if you don't want a whole box, if you know somebody, buy a whole box and split it with them. It's usually cheaper.
Or hang
Hmm.
on to
Good
those
point.
unopened ones and sell them 20 years from now.
I've got stacks of unopened old Star Wars CCG. So yeah,
Are there? Is there? Whatever cards you need the most to finish your collection, is there chances that they are in these sealed packs you're sitting on?
it depends on the packs. So, um, yeah, I've got some packs of all the sets I'm missing,
They
except
they
for
just whisper to you, like
I,
open,
uh,
open me.
yeah, they do. They do. It's hard to resist sometimes. Um, but yeah, so that kind of ends the products that are going to be available for your average person to just buy off the shelf. The
Now,
pre-release.
if you're not average, if you're a listener of the Jodo Cast Star Wars Unlimited investment community, these are the products that'll be available to you.
No, so these are products that are meant for stores to buy to get. Um, and so this also led them to talk about their casual OP plans, organized play a little bit, because they that's what they were talking about with some of these kits. And so first, there's the launch kit that stores are going to be able to buy to kind of do. Um, it sounds like this is kind of going to be part of the pre-release a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go. Like, I think I think the launch kit, yeah, I think it's gonna meant to be part of the pre-release. Like it's gonna have a booster box full of packs to give out as prizes with the pre-release. Um,
Compliments the
Plus,
pre-release
like I said, it's
box.
gonna have um, the stacks of bases, extra bases to give out to players.
Gotcha.
Um,
So basically, a store would have their event. Each person would buy the pre-release box, and then there's these extra boosters in here and the extra bases and stuff because people are like, "Well, I want some extra stuff right now too."
well, the boosters are more meant to be as prizes, I think.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, the kit's also gonna have like all these extra bases and stuff because maybe you don't pull, a green base in any of your packs, but the deck you want to build needs a green base. So rather than limiting you during the pre-release, they're
Since you'll
gonna
be building off of just 6 boosters, you might get kind of
yeah.
bad luck on that. Or
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's still going to be. I mean, that's it, any sealed event. 6 boosters is going to be normal. I mean, and when you
Mhm.
draft, usually it's only 3. So and that's
Oh,
part of the
gotcha.
like. That's
Interesting.
actually like that's why the boxes, in fact, have 24 packs in them. Because like a pod of 8 people is kind of standard for doing a draft. So that way, one booster box per like pod of people doing a draft. Each person gets 3 packs. Um,
I have a question that the answer to which may or may not be known. Just thinking of all like the sort of variations of probabilities in the booster with the foils, hyperspace, and whatever the
yeah.
showcase, and then on top of all the rarities, how do they like? How are these manufactured? Like, just what's the process for getting these cards in the boosters at the promised uh, rate?
So to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on the entire process. I know, like they're gonna have sheets of like generally like one printed sheet. They print on like big huge
Yeah,
sheets and then are cut. Cards are cut out of them. Like they'll have a sheet that'll be all commons, and there'll be another one that's all um,
Assume like all
all
foils on a sheet because
or
they all get the same
right.
treatment or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. They print all the foils on a sheet. As for how they all get inserted into the packs after that, I'm not
Yeah, I'm just
100%
that
sure.
just seems so like such a
If you're
like
like
this
guaranteeing a certain
probably
rarity,
they're all of the cards are going into
I
like bins
I
and then they're
I
getting
missed
sorted
that
by a
episode
computer or
of
something.
History Channel's How
Yeah,
It's Made.
right. That's what I want to
they
know because it
should
just sounds
honestly
like
do that. That would be
extremely
cool.
complex. Because like, well, the foil in this pack also fits the guarantee for the rarity
Mhm.
of the legendary and the hyperspace. So that's can't have the or is there could there be more than one foil or is it always going to be one foil?
So
You got there's some kind of algorithm.
so I believe okay, so there's the one foil slot. I believe
I thought they said there was a
that
chance of
if
getting other ones.
I believe that if you are going to get a rare or a legendary foil, instead of that taking up your that will actually go into your uncommon one of your uncommon slots, I think.
It sounds
Something
pretty
Oh,
complicated though. Like you
didn't they say
said,
you could
because
get like a
because
double legendary or
because
something?
yeah, if you pull up God pack, there is a chance, like if you get like the best pack ever, there is a chance to get up to 4 legendaries.
Oh, okay.
wow.
Because you can
Because
get
you
a legendary in your actual legendary slot. I think you could get one in the foil slot. You could
like one
get
for the
one,
leader or something.
yeah. I forget exactly how it was, but it was like it's possible to get like 4 in one pack. I
Okay,
mean,
so
the
that
odds are almost zero, but it's possible.
so that's that means they're not like trying to balance like okay, one foil means one foil. It's just like okay, well here's this slot, this slot, this slot. If there happens to be some overlap, that's
Yeah,
not something
Yeah,
we're concerned with.
that would probably be like too much work, I guess, at that point. But
I think it's
like you said,
I think it's not if you get a foil legendary or a foil rare. So if you get just a foil rare or a foil legendary, that still goes in the foil slot. I think it's if you get a hyperspace foil rare or legendary, that is when it goes into the uncommon slot.
hmm,
I think. I don't remember. Anyways, it's something like that.
yeah,
Um,
it's
I just
definitely
want to I just
complex,
want to
and they have
know
some way to make it work out, which
yeah
is
I
interesting.
just want to know how
How
the
they actually achieve that.
yeah
yeah.
there
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be really cool to have a whole hobby or nerd based how it's made type show. Like, I want to see how FFG makes their
well
like
I want
X-wing
to
ships and stuff too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah
So back to other products. So the store can get. There's also the weekly play kit. Back when they first talked about casual organized play, the uh, the weekly play event was something that they had discussed, where it was just meant to be sort of a casual event where you come, you show up, you maybe don't even play unlimited. You maybe just hang out and build a deck or trade cards with someone or whatever. As long as
hmm,
you're there participating in some sort of manner, you're supposed to get um, what are these weekly play booster packs, which will have 3 cards in them. Um, and
and
generally,
I think they avoid calling it a booster to avoid confusion. A
no, it
three
says
card
booster
blind
right on
pack.
the
It does say
pack.
booster.
Yeah.
on the picture it
Oh yeah,
says
you're right. 3 card
weekly
booster.
play 3 card booster.
Yeah.
Interesting. But these are only promo, like alt art type things.
Yeah, essentially there's gonna be alt art. Um, there's gonna be treatments that aren't available in in other formats. Like instead of the hyperspace border, these alt art cards have sort of like a, a foggy colored border to them.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
So there's just things in here that are
Yeah.
that will never be in like the off the shelf thing.
Yes. Plus one nice thing in here is this is also where you will be able to get hyperspace and like foil variants of the um, the starter deck cards, the starter only cards.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
so yeah, so those will be like yeah, so you can earn you're supposed to be able to earn like 1 pack a week at these events. So um,
well,
It's cool.
makes me want to go weekly.
and then they're also going to have the store showdown kits, which are supposed to be sort of like a small store tournament. Not really like a. I mean, it's a tournament, so it's still meant to be competitive, but casually competitive. Like if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
there's not really a lot
at
at
stake.
stake in these, so it's meant to be a more of a friendly, like a way for someone who's maybe never played competitively before to sort of dip their toes into that water. Um,
Get an alt art promo card just for participating, different one for placing well, and I guess
yep,
some
and then
booster packs.
yep, and then again, yep, the kit includes a booster box to use for prizes. Um, yeah,
Nice.
so yeah, and I believe that these alt art cards are going to have the same sort of treatment as the ones in the weekly play kits that are more of that like that hazy, foggy border.
make you feel like you forgot to put your glasses on.
Like a
Everything it's just a blur filter over the whole card.
it's like a Dagobah like swamp gas
Mm.
border.
Yeah.
So
I like that all these the promo stuff is different from like the fancy cosmetic things. So you still
Yeah,
get
it's
to
good.
feel cool,
mhm,
like, oh, this is something I couldn't get elsewhere,
yeah,
and all this. I
they
mean, I'm a sucker for alt arts.
they did say that these these promo cards for these OP promo cards have a foil have a they made it sound like the foil treatment on them is somehow different than the foil treatment that like your standard
Uh,
foil cards in the booster
like
packs are going to have.
m-
So like
more rainbows packed in per pixel.
so yeah, I don't know if it's going to be something like Pokemon has tons of different foil treatments. They do like textured uh foils and like etched foils and all kinds of different things. And like Magic has started doing some of that also. Um so yeah, so I'll be interested to see what these look like actually in person when you can actually see the what the foil treatments look like, because I mean obviously these are just uh, when they're doing these streams right now they're still just showing digital images to us. They don't have the cards in hand. um
Yeah, I really want something that's like a foil that's like a C3PO in a New Hope type texture, like super dirty Tatooine droid. I want that to be my foil. That would be cool.
Grime that you have to like wipe off
You have to
when
give
you
it an oil bath to use it in your deck. Yeah. I don't know. It maybe sounds
I
silly, but
want
I'm
some
very
of those.
excited about all these cool cards that could look cool, you know?
Yeah, there's so many different ways for the cards to look, which I think is very fun as an alt art lover. Although I will have to like resist chasing them specifically
Yeah.
for alt art reasons.
yeah, like
I mean,
I do hope we see more variety with the alt art. Like I said, just how it to me kind of having almost the same image between
Yeah,
the
I
original and
agree.
the alt is a little um
it's almost like
not that the art isn't
confusing in a way.
cool, it's just a little disappointing to me.
It doesn't, because then it's also not immediately apparent that it's an alt art, which is part of the fun of having an alt art. Be like, hey, look at this thing that's
Yeah, I think it
different.
could be
That's why it's
confusing
cool.
sometimes. You'll look at
Well,
it and you'll be like, wait, it's almost the same, but it's like kind of flipped and slightly different. And it'll be like, what? Which one's the real one? You know, it'll be a
yeah.
little weird.
later
Maybe.
later this month they are going to have a stream where they're going to be now talking about giving us more details of their actual competitive organized play plans.
Yeah.
So like uh, regional, national, and like world championship type stuff.
I
Um,
want the
and now
them to have.
and so that maybe we'll see more of the more unique artwork showing up there, because those are
Yeah,
going to be the more premium events and those are going to be the rare promos and things like that.
I want those for leaders and bases. You can do those like acrylic cards that they used to do for different games,
Yeah.
since they don't have to be in your deck. Also, I want the first World Championships to be the day after like official release, so everyone's had about a week with their cards before they have to go to Worlds.
uh, it wasn't a week, but like X-Wing because X-Wing came out in September, uh if I remember right, if you don't count the early sales they did at Gen Con in August. It like officially there in what was it 2012, it officially launched sometime in September then I think. um but yeah, then the worlds were at in the beginning of November, so people had like a month and a half to play the game, and then the very first World Championships happened.
Huh.
Um, yeah, so I'm looking forward to what I want to hear them say for that first World Championship is that it's going to be back in Minnesota again.
Yeah,
That would be
Uh,
that
cool.
would be. What are the odds of that? Do you think that because they're trying to be like, it's definitely attempting to be a higher profile game than any game they've done in the past. Do you think that would mean they would also try and have their worlds at something like Gen Con or something like that?
Las Vegas or some crazy
yeah,
place.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I will have to wait and find out. But
So, speaking of wait and find out, what don't we know? You said they're going to talk about all the competitive stuff
yeah,
uh, soon this month. Is that all that's left to know as far as, not just
I mean,
cards?
for the most part, other than um, more cards. Um,
Which is important because you kind of get a feel for the mix of keywords and special
yeah,
abilities, and that has somewhat of an effect.
yeah. Here next month or this month here, October, I believe is supposed to be now focused on aggression card
Ewoktober better be
aspect.
just Ewok reveals. When I ask them if they have an Ewok card I can reveal for Ewoktober.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, yeah, that's not. It was a joke, but I think I should do that.
But yeah, I mean, there's not really. I don't think other than specific cards, the big thing is going to be what are their organized play plans from the competitive side of things, um, and then what looking further into the future. I mean, obviously, what a release date is, kind of
That's
like,
the day it comes out.
huh?
You said what a release date is, and that's the
What
date it
what?
comes out in stores.
Thanks. You've yeah. So what is the release date? Happy. Uh, which I mean, kind of everything we've seen points to March. Um, I think there was even during a recent Embracer Group investor call, they called out that Star Wars Unlimited is slated to release at the end of their Q4 fiscal year, and their Q4 fiscal year is January, February, March. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
See, you got to be an investor to get all the real info. It's like we've been saying.
This is not a card game. It's an investment. It's a lifestyle.
um,
We
and
need to start
then
selling
and once we know the
brain pills.
release date for this set, looking forward, what is are they looking at being the release cadence for these next two sets? Uh,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
Better
and
be
then I guess
slow.
I guess one
'Cause they
thing one
gotta.
thing we don't know yet that people would like to know. I think it's been implied in some interviews, but it's never been. I don't think it's ever been officially asked and answered. Is it if they're going to be doing set rotation in uh, competitive?
Oh,
So that
Mm-hmm.
might be something they're going to talk about during their organized play plans. They might mention that. They might not. Um, who knows?
well, I'm still pretty excited about this game. I eagerly await the day I crack my first pack and then go, "Oh God, it's starting." I need to find more.
Yeah.
I just hope they have them at like
Just like
Target
you
too.
crack a showcase on your first pack,
Oh my God,
and then you're hooked forever.
then I'll be crowned king.
It makes me feel
I
like a kid again a little bit, but like you're saying, Joe, kind of in a dangerous way where it's like you could easily start buying way too many of these. I know
Yeah,
card game players are already used to that, but
the difference now to when I was a kid is I've actually got the money to buy
Yeah, that makes it
piles of this.
scarier.
Yeah,
there's nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
yeah.
But also, from a content perspective, I encourage you to do that.
It's cool too, like for me, coming from mostly from the miniature game side, they miniature games just don't really have that collectible aspect of like you could get a foil, you could get a cool alt art, you got promos
The
in
gambling
OP stuff
aspect, you mean?
only. Yeah, exactly. And that has downsides to it too, but it's very exciting to talk about all the different foils and things and be like, oh, I could get a cool Leia foil. What if I got a whatever foil, and
I think,
it's exciting. I want to buy stuff.
yeah, I think that the important thing is going to be striking the balance of giving you enough to keep you excited and not overloading you with so much shit like I feel like Magic the Gathering has done in recent years.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I think that they just they went way too overboard with a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, Hasbro wants to make money, right? So they're
Oh yeah,
twisting every screw they can at this point.
well, I mean, Magic the Gathering is pretty much the only thing making money for them. I believe I remember hearing at least during one of their and investor calls maybe
Hmm.
in the last year or so it was what was it, Magic was like 75% of the company's entire profits all came from Magic.
God.
Wow.
It's insane.
Don't they own Dungeons and Dragons too?
Yeah,
And they make Star Wars toys?
yep.
But magic cards are little pieces of paper that people pay a lot of money for. So the pretty good margins, I guess.
See, and I think that that's part of it. The thing is like, so they, because they're so heavily reliant on it, there's a lot of, I think, pressure on them to uh, encourage that secondary market with higher prices. Then that entices more people into buying large amounts of products to get those chase cards that are going to sell at the high prices.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They at least do like a bunch of really cool alt arts nowadays too. Like they have lots of like random artists who wouldn't be a normal magic style of illustration. Like I think that's really cool, but I'm sure that's kind of a small chunk of the
Yeah,
stuff
well,
too.
and those secret layers tend to be cool, but again, they're like crazy expensive.
Hmm.
The secret layers, I mean, you're paying. Well, I shouldn't say crazy expensive. I mean, in the grand scheme of Magic cards, but I mean, you're still paying 50 plus bucks for 4 or 5 cards,
Hmm.
depending on the secret layer.
Wow.
Um, and then that's if you just get regular ones and not foil ones. And then when they send you the foil ones, they're usually curled up like freaking Pringles. So thanks for that, Watsy. So
But
that's another thing
Star
that's
Wars would
not
never hurt
known
us.
yet is how bad are the Star Wars Unlimited foils going to curl. I really hope they're better than your average Magic the Gathering foil.
Because if they curl, they're worthless, right? You can't really put them in your deck if they're not gonna.
I mean, you're sleeving them, so
Okay.
generally they don't curve so bad that sleeving. I mean, especially if you double sleeve.
Which you got to do if you're really being careful about your investments.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
gonna. I mean, all of mine, those like screw back hard plastic, my full deck, like that.
Hmm.
Shuffling is just you slosh them around on the table.
I did see somebody talking about how in their time judging as a CCG event judge, they did have somebody show up one time with a deck all in hard cases And they were like, no, you can't do that. You got to take them all out.
And then eat them. We're gonna watch you destroy them. Okay, well, that's Star Wars Unlimited update for now. We'll be knowing more soon, and if you want to get up to the second updates on this, just join our Discord, hop in the card game channel, or follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky, but mostly Discord is where you're going to get that breaking news right away. Anything else they need to know?